Hello, everybody. I'm Dr. Jesse Jackson III. I'm the best-selling author and facilitator of the Don't Kick 'em Out book and training series. Welcome to all my superintendents and principals checking in to get some awareness, some understanding of what best helps you to help your staff in this very unique time of history. We are at the early point going into fall break. The biggest issue that I know is on every campus is the impending introduction of teacher burnout. What happens with teacher burnout, why teacher burnout is really something we need to pay attention to. It's not physical fatigue. Burnout's emotional fatigue. Well, with emotional fatigue, it's like when you get tired emotionally, and what does that look like? You get really short with people, right? You don't have a lot of patience. And if you work in a trauma zone, like many of the people that follow me, well, first, I can't say that. I have a lot of schools that are traditional schools, but they're getting some of the introduction of that certain population. And it could be something as small as like 3 or 5%, right? So this last year, I just got 3 blue ribbon schools added to me from last year, meaning they achieved blue ribbon status this year. And I've been a part of the team, so they wanted me to know about it, which is awesome. There's a misconception of our program. My program is academic first. I'm an academician. I've been at this a very long time. I started in '96. I was trained academically, right? But the person who trained me helped me to understand the barriers to your academic performance. And I never made the correlation till I was there and he was making it obvious to me, like the neighborhood is influencing what we're doing in here. I mean, that's in Detroit, man. That's like almost 30 years ago for me. And being from Detroit, I understood it, but I never made the correlation of why my high school was so crazy, why our neighborhood was so crazy, like why a lot of my friends didn't make it, dropped out, school wasn't for them. I didn't get it, but it was the trauma zone. It was the impact of their home, our community, our neighborhood. I didn't get it till my teacher showed me that about 30 plus years ago. It feels like 30 years ago, but that's 96. So what is that? Approaching 30 years, right? So the thing that I want to talk to us about is burnout. We're at the period of the school year where burnout is very real. And you look right there on the challenge list, it's teacher burnout. If the teachers burn out emotionally, they won't be able to move the staff. In a trauma zone, 2 things really govern success. And this is how I've had schools in some horrible neighborhoods be able to test out state report card B.A. blue ribbon. It's real. How are they able to test out? It's 2 things that are very primary in a trauma zone that are things that the researcher, so if y'all are following the research and theory like that, you can't get. See, one part about people, I would suggest always follow research, but however, you gotta know people. And if you need a survey to tell you how people feel, good luck. That means you have no feel for who's in front of you. This is why a lot of times there's a lot of dissension in the ranks of leadership teams, because we don't understand people and personalities. So therefore we don't get the best out of people. We're doing what we think works, but we don't know what works. So my specialty in our company is specialized in what works. We will tailor. Now it's harder for us, but we tailor every single training to the campus and neighborhood and environment we're on. I am not bringing you national research data, and I'm as international as it gets. What this past week, coach at Jackson State, Coach Sanders, Coach Prime, the guy said he's not SWAC. I don't know what that means. Right? I am research. I listen to these people. I am the research. Who's more research than me? Who's been to more places than me? Who moved around more during COVID than me? Who's been to more schools in more states than me? That's how I learned and start telling folks. Best practices are based on best people. So you could try to do what we're doing in Detroit or in Brooklyn or in Arkansas. But if you don't have that camaraderie in your team, the research will look delinquent. That's why so many schools change models every year. They're searching for what works. When it's not what works, you gotta work out, find the people that like and want to work together. That's powerful stuff. That's powerful stuff. So if you're in a trauma zone, and a trauma zone by definition is where those deeply disturbing or distressing experiences, stuff that really dominates the neighborhood, dominates our homes, where the kids come from, where a lot of our staff comes from. That stuff comes to school every day, unannounced. See, that's the key, unannounced. And we are thinking that they came to learn, but they came for a break. We're thinking that the staff knows how to be professional, but a lot of them, their personal life is dominating their work. Trauma is an education. One thing I'm going to be doing this November and December, and I'm asking all of y'all, even if it's an online course, I'm asking all of you, particularly principals, if you're a principal or soup listening to me, when you see it available, you better get in it. It is how to deal with the trauma season of the holiday and how to start dealing with grief. Why do we have to do this? I probably at 7 of my schools this year, we've lost staff, like died. Like a coworker of ours lost their life. The grief that we are dealing with since COVID, I probably, if I added it up properly, I'm probably over 500 coworkers that has died since 2020. And these are places that I go. I know these people. I love them. They love me. Hey, Doc, how you doing? When I hit the building, Dr. Jackson here, it's all good. I come back on the next round. They're like, you remember that lady that always say hi to you? Yeah, we lost her. What you mean? She died. They told me that 2 weeks ago. I bust into tears. I was in such low self because I remembered the lady so well. She'd been so good to me, always excited to see me, always had encouragement for me. And I just said, oh my God. And if I felt that way as a traveling visitor, how did the team feel? You know what I'm saying? And we got to teach principals how to deal with trauma. You don't deal with it with your staff. You got to learn individually how you deal with it. So Soups, when y'all see that course available, you get in it. It's going to be online, so you can kind of deal with a lot of things privately because you need to learn. If you're a principal in a trauma zone, you have to learn how to manage trauma. And one, your own, but then how to help staff. It's very serious, and this is not a game. This is not trauma-informed care. This is not that stuff that people are trying to pass off. You know, this is not self-care. This is knowledge, some things you better understand. I mean, I'm with a coworker who's dealing with some grief, and she said something that was powerful to me that helped me and helped all of us. She said she did not go to, we lost a kid, got killed in the street. One of our kids, we knew him. I knew him, she knew him. She said she couldn't go. You know why? Because a week before, she just lost her mama. And she said, I'm a wreck already. Couldn't do it. Right? Yeah, y'all see what I'm saying? And I told her, well, I know you made the right call because I know where you was at and where we was at dealing with your mom loss. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm talking about. This is what you got to prepare for. This is how I have to prepare you. So this is why I'm talking about burnout today. So in a trauma zone, when they bring all those emotional problems every day, the thing I need y'all to like be aware of is exactly how you're responding to managing other folks' problems and issues. A lot of us are unaware of it, right? When you think about looking at all the issues, death, negative divorce, abuse, trust issues, finances, unstable housing, food shortage. And we talk about this all the time. We'll deal with it more in detail later. Molestation, drug use, active mental illness in the family, unstable life situation, health problems in the family. You're talking about exposure to criminal activity, family separation, exposure to street violence. We're talking about these things are heavy and they have an emotional impact on us. So when we start talking about staff burnout, if I'm dealing with other folks' problems daily, I have to be able to be aware of, one, how I feel, but then there's a lot of people that are sponges. So other folks' problems stick to them and they go home grieved every day. What do you think that does to your marriage? Look at my trauma list. What's on that high trauma list for teachers? Bad marriages. So when you work in the trauma zone, you're bringing the kids' problems home. Do you think that helps you be a better parent? Everybody say no. It's tough. It's hard on your marriage. Everybody say yes, right? Y'all know I love you. Say yes, right? Hello? So that's the real. You think you're a good parent and you just dealt with 50 of your own students, then you got to go home and deal with your 3. And a lot of times you're not aware of how you feel, so you're distant with them and you don't make the connection. And before you know it, your kids don't like you, you don't like them. What's that called, folks? Burnout. Certain times a year, burnout will show itself. So this is why I'm checking in with us right now. August, the energy's good to start the school year. September, burnouts on campus after Labor Day. Everybody say, I can see that. That's right. And then we get into a good groove in September so we can get out of September pretty good. Typically our best month of the school year, if everything is copacetic and healthy, it's October. What's the tough? Now, if you're at a school right now and like the teachers are really tired in the middle of October, that's the sign to say you got to get them some help. The break won't do it. They need to hear something, get some awareness of what they're dealing with, because teacher discouragement is very common because they at a trauma zone, the teacher is thinking the kid's not getting it. When at a trauma zone, our kids don't hit their stride till about February, March. Nobody told you that because you don't know. In a trauma zone, you think the kid ain't getting it. They're not doing the work. The kids heard everything you said. Are they getting it fully? A little. Are they showing it? No. Trauma zone. We'll have kids that say they not going to do the work because they mad at you. I ain't doing your work. We have teachers that are so unaware, they'll say the kids are needy or irritating because the kid keeps asking them questions. Ask them, is it right? What do you think they asked them for? Is it right or for affirmation to build their confidence? 2 things you as an adult must have when you work in a trauma zone: confidence and be likable. The kids can tell who likes them and who doesn't. A lot of us don't even understand it because we come from a middle class frame of mind that tells us, school is for you. In a trauma zone, that's not true. That's not true. That's not true. In a trauma zone, the kids work for the teacher. All y'all know that's true. If you don't get that, you're showing that you don't understand your population and your environment. And that's not your fault. That hits, that means you need training. If your principal doesn't get it, if your superintendent doesn't see like the value of it, and we still have folks out here that don't even recognize trauma. We got districts that are trauma zones and the superintendent's oblivious. Central office, oblivious. They're not oblivious. They don't know what to do. It scares them. It's not their expertise, so they don't touch it. Y'all ever met somebody that don't know what to do, so they don't do nothing? That's evil. That's equally as evil as doing the wrong thing, right? But to ignore it is probably the most evil thing, because what that causes you to do is lose your audience. You lose your population because they know, the teachers know, and they believe central office doesn't care about us, and they don't. And if you're one of those districts that have lost touch with your teachers and your teachers don't believe central office believes in them, and they're just academics. Guys, I'm an academician. I am the blue screw ribbon maker. I am the trauma zone. If you want to be in up, call Doc. Because the goal is to move the mess so you can get production. Most schools are trying to teach over the mess. That makes zero sense. You got to fight every passing period. That's the mess. You can't get no A school with a fight every period. Lockdown once a week. The mess. Teachers calling off. Kids don't come to school. Why do you think the teacher's calling off? I will not let anybody disrespect the teachers. There, we got 1% of teacher that's uncommitted. The overwhelming arching 98% of teachers is in. They don't know what to do. And that means it's leadership's job to get them the guidance they need to work and do this job at a high level. Toughest 2 months of the year, November and December. So when should you do training? At the top of the year. When do you need another training? Right before we go into trauma season. October, November, December. You don't send your staff into why is that the highest trauma season? What is November, December about? Holiday. What's the most sensitive, what is holiday supposed to be about? Family. What's a lot of our students' issue? Family. What's a lot of staff's issue? Family. So how are you not getting them help? But then you would say, okay, let's bring in the social worker to talk to them about self-care. You don't get it. Anybody that's on this self-care crap, you delusional, because that's research. People, you got to know people. And people need to know what to do. Self-care is theory. People don't know how to take care of themselves. You keep telling them, take care of yourself now, take care of yourself. They don't know what that means, even if you show them. The average person don't know themselves. The average person puts themselves second. So how can you tell them to take care of themselves when they train to put others in front of them and they feel guilty for putting themselves first? I'm teaching really good right now. I hope you're getting this. I did this for you today. January, February, it's kind of okay. Best month of the school year is March. Why? We can see the end, spring break, people ready to go. The thing is, if you're not careful, the end of the school year is April, and right after Good Friday, Thursday. So the teachers mailed it in, but when do most districts test? In April and May. So the teachers burnt out and checked in, but you got to get test scores, and they don't have the energy to coach the kids properly to have you looking right. Thus, you sitting there with an F or a D or a C when you know you're a BA. That's burnout. If you're a school, you know you're dealing with burnout. I wanted to show y'all how this stuff looks, man, because May is all downhill. You have to be aware of it, and this is what I'm talking to y'all about. I'm talking to y'all about understanding how to help your people. I talk to leaders, right? If I end up talking to teachers, it's because a leader thought it was valuable. But the real thing that needs to happen more and more over the course of time is you need to practice bringing your leadership in. I am so proud of the many districts I have this year that have created and have brought in my training program and others to train the admin team. That tells me they heard it. The change in a building and a culture starts with admin. So if you have somebody, I've had places that the admin team is totally the problem. So the admin team don't want to do what you ask them to do. Now, once again, they're a flat F district. Flat F. 50% turnover every year. But you don't want to do what you know you're supposed to do and what I'm asking you to do. So you wonder why you have a 70% turnover in your staff in 1 year. I'm asking every leader that's listening to me, take the steps you need to take care of your people. Dr. Jackson's not the only guy out here with the right guidance. But when you call Dr. Jackson, you're going to get the elitist level of clarity you can get. I value in delivering the best guidance and wisdom available. We're about winning, and we're about helping people to understand the necessity of the right practices, right approaches, understanding personality. The most important thing you need to always understand is yourself and how you feel. And as a leader, if I know my own burnout schedule, then I know how to help my staff. That's what this is about. you know you need help, right? I'm asking y'all. So it's going to be two ways to do this, right? Some people, you know, you need to go there, right? You know, you need to help your team. Give us a call, right? And you're going to be looking forward in the very near future where there's online classes where you can bring in your admin team and you can get ready for these next 3 rough months, because the holiday season doesn't just go half of October, November, December. It actually goes throughout the winter. So if you're in a cold weather state, the trauma is ongoing because cold weather for many represent trauma. I'm not shocked because I was a kid with no heat. But I would ask y'all, do y'all know how many kids don't have heat in their house? Well, see, I'm not shocked because I was the kid at a house with no heat. You know, we didn't have any heat. My mother said, put your clothes on or your coat on and lay down. And I never made the connection. We didn't have heat. We boiling water. And it just didn't click. And I didn't get it till I got older. And I was like, it's cold in here. And I didn't get it. Now I get it. You know how many of our kids, that's their life? And so I don't need you to feel sad for them. I need you to understand how to manage them, how to help them to rise above their circumstances. In our culture, circumstances are becoming dominant, and we need to learn how to get above our circumstances. And if we don't, we the problem. If you need my help, call me. If you see a course you need, get in it. I'm Dr. Jackson. I'm here for you, always available for you. If you need me, call. I'll see you soon. Be well.